Planning to appeal. We think we have strong bases to appeal. The strongest basis is that the jury reached a verdict on coercion. It found there was not coercion, and I think the judge said
pretty happy with his defense team, because I think the judge giving less than half of the prosecutor's recommendation and also less than what the pre-sentence report had said is a win for him.
The nature of his charge, he is not eligible for any time off of his sentence other than the 15% good time credit.
He used to really like me a lot, but I think when I ran for politics, he sort of, that relationship busted up from what I read. I don't know. He didn't tell me that, but I'd read some little bit nasty statements in the paper all of a sudden. You know, it's different. You become a much different person when you run for politics and you do what's right.
The courtroom fell silent as Sean P. Diddy Combs stood before the judge. After months of shocking testimony, the verdict was announced. Guilty on 2 counts of transporting women for prostitution, but cleared of the more serious charges. The judge made one thing clear: fame does not excuse cruelty. Diddy apologized, saying, "My behavior was shameful and sick." He was sentenced to 50 months in federal prison, fined $500,000, and will be under supervision for 5 years after his release. Here's the twist. Diddy has already spent about a year in custody, which could reduce his prison time. Experts say there's a small chance of a shorter sentence, parole, or even a future pardon, though nothing is certain. His lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, has already filed an appeal, arguing that the judge went beyond the jury's decision.
We are planning to appeal.
Man, I want to hear them, bro.
We are planning to appeal. We think we have strong bases to appeal. The strongest basis is that the jury reached a verdict on coercion. It found there was not coercion, and I think the judge said coercion today as a basis for a sentence at least a dozen times. We think that that is unconstitutional. We think that a jury verdict should mean more than our jury's verdict seems to mean, and so we are planning to appeal.
If the prosecution files a cross appeal, what would happen in that regard if they filed a cross appeal and then Sean Diddy Combs get a higher sentence?
He would not get a higher sentence, and they're not gonna cross appeal. We're gonna appeal. We think we're right, and they'll respond to the appeal, and it'll be decided by the Second Circuit as soon as.
Diddy's lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, has announced that they are moving forward with an appeal. There are many rumors online about why Diddy received only 4 years and 2 months in prison, even though some believe the sentence should have been between 7 and 11 years under federal law. Some people are also questioning whether the judge, who has Indian heritage and was appointed during President Biden's term, made the right decision. According to several reports and public opinions, many think the punishment was too light. Meanwhile, Mila Mells, Cassie Ventura's longtime makeup artist and a close friend of Diddy for 25 years, spoke about the case. She said the situation is heartbreaking and that Diddy should genuinely feel remorse for everything that happened.
It's been a very, very stressful year for me just watching this all play out. And I really don't know what to think or feel about it. I'm just really disappointed as to, you know, I've known for 25 years and we're here and he's going to jail. I just feel so much, it's just a very sad day.
Mila, he spoke out for the first time today. He did not speak during the trial, but today Combs tearfully apologized to Cassie, saying that he was broken to his core. He also said he was apologizing to other victims of domestic violence, taking responsibility for his actions, really talking about himself and how he felt that he was responsible. Nobody to blame but him. What do you think about his statement in court?
Well, I don't always believe what Sean would say. I hope he's remorseful. I hope he's apologetic. And like I said, I don't know where we are right now in this place.
And there's more to come, we know, because this case will continue on, and there are going to be civil suits. You've been part of this high-profile case. This is a man who was accused of great violence, intimidation. This clearly has not been easy for you, and to be a part of this trial and to testify. Many people talked about being fearful. How has this impacted your life?
It has impacted my life because I've known Sean for 25 years, and I've known Cassie since she was a teenager. And I used to travel the world with Kim Porter and Sean. And, you know, I just think that a man with so much power, I wish that he would have done something better with it, rather than here we are seeing him in court. You know, like I said, 25 years later, it's just a sad
difficult
story.
Time.
It's really difficult, yeah.
And you faced him in the court.
Federal prison consultant Sam Mangle, who is known for advising high-profile inmates, also commented on Diddy's situation, and his opinion carries weight. Mangle explained that Diddy won't qualify for the usual 15% sentence reduction that some prisoners receive for good behavior. This means he will likely have to serve the full term. According to Mangle, this will make Diddy's next 3 to 4 years in prison much harder, with limited privileges and strict supervision. He emphasized that Diddy's time behind bars could be far more difficult than many expect, especially for someone who once lived a life of wealth and control.
Clients, whether a politician, an actor, a billionaire client, or the run-of-the-mill businessman or doctor I deal with, it doesn't sink in until the judge reads the statement, "You are hereby remanded to the custody of the Bureau of Prisons for X number of months." And at that point, I explain that at least most of my clients serve about 30% of that time in custody. It's a lot different for Sean Combs because due to the nature of his charge, he is not eligible for any time off of his sentence other than the 15% good time credit that's given to every inmate. Between that and the time served, he's going to roughly be in custody for about 24 months before he's eligible for home confinement. So what I would tell him, and he's been in custody now for the past year, so he's very familiar with the Bureau of Prisons, he's going to be going to a much lighter security facility. He'll be going to a low security facility where he's going to be allowed outside from 6 in the morning to 9 o'clock at night, where he's going to be typically not in a cell but in dormitory style housing, and much greater freedom. But depending upon where he goes, and I had the opportunity to work with the mother of 2 of his children a few years ago, and I spoke to her a few weeks ago specifically about where he's going. And where he goes will really dictate how he needs to assimilate and what type of programming might be available to him, really to keep him busy and make him more productive.
Right now, the main debate is why Diddy received a lighter sentence than many expected. According to Fox 5 New York reporter and crime analyst Lisa Evers, Diddy's sentence is actually a win for the defense. She explained that although the verdict may seem like a victory for the victims on paper, Diddy managed to keep control of the situation. In her words, it's a legal win for the victims on record. But in reality, Diddy ended up with far less prison time than anyone anticipated.
Well, I'm sure Diddy is not thrilled to not walk out today, but he should be pretty happy with his defense team because I think the judge giving less than half of the prosecutor's recommendation and also less than what the pre-sentence report had said is a win for him. I do believe that 4 years is a win in this particular case.
Joe, what did it? Was it his letter? Was it the letters of family? Was it the children speaking? Was it the work that he's doing behind bars? Was it the nature of these charges? As much as we say that the judge was not convinced to throw out the charges, right? The defense put forward that motion saying transportation to engage in prostitution should be thrown out. This is not prostitution. It's protected by the First Amendment. The judge didn't buy it. But the argument, hey, he wasn't convicted of racketeering, he wasn't convicted of sex trafficking, just the prostitution charges, can't create a disparity based on other defendants who are sentenced. Maybe 4 years is appropriate and won't be overturned on appeal.
Yeah, I think he had to position this a certain way. And there's a couple things to figure in. First of all, we got to go back to the fact that the defense did an enormous job in getting him off of the most serious charges, right? So we're talking about something that's going to be smaller and it's going to be less time anyway. Next, there's the probation department recommendation, right? Which put things at a certain place. And it sounded like, even though the judge talked about how 11 years wouldn't have necessarily been unreasonable, and he said 14 months would have been entirely unreasonable if I am hearing it correctly, he still is in line in that he doesn't want to do something that'll necessarily be appealable, and he wants to arrive somewhere not too far afield from the recommendations themselves. And so again, here's Diddy in a situation where he did a lot better than he might have. And that 3 years is going to go by in no time. And the day that he was found guilty of most of everything, it ensured that he would have a date that he would get home at some point anyway. So he will get home. He's better off than he may have been, than a lot of people would have been, even though he's not coming home today.
This case has left the world watching, divided, curious, and full of questions. Was justice truly served, or was power at play behind the scenes? Only time will tell how Diddy's story unfolds from here. Stay tuned, because this is far from over, and you won't want to miss what happens next.